Okay, cool. So today we're going to cover arrays. I'm doing do a review on arrays. So let me share my screen. We can get started.
Okay.
Cool. So what do you know about arrays before we even dive in?
Well, we already covered it at school. We're actually onto something else, but I just wanted to do like review for like just preparing for the AP exams.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So would you like to talk about concepts or maybe try some questions?
Maybe try some questions.
Okay, let's do it then. We can start with the easy multiple choice and then go from there. Cool.
All
All right. So can you see that okay? Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's try this first one. Which index is the last element in an array called nums at?
Well, that's B.
Mhm.
Always gets the last element.
Right, exactly. Correct. So the first element is 0, and so the last element will be the full length minus 1.
Yeah.
All right, given the following code segment, which of the following will cause an infinite loop? Assume that temp is an int variable initialized to be greater than 0, and that A is an array of ints.
Okay.
Let's see.
Well, we have a for loop, then also we have a while loop.
Right. Mm-hmm.
A while loop is if A, K, index K is less than temp.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll have an infinite loop if that's not meant. That's like not met.
Right. So which of these answers would do that? So the infinite loop, are they referring to the for loop or the while loop, do you think?
Probably the while loop.
Exactly, right. Probably the while loop.
Because I guess the for loop just goes through the array.
Mm-hmm. Right.
While like the while loop has like a condition that actually must be met in order to
Exactly.
stop it.
Mm-hmm. So what would make it so that that condition, A of K less than temp, is always true?
Well, I guess whenever A has values that are larger than temp.
Okay, let's try that. It says incorrect. Values larger than temp will not cause the infinite loop. So if a value is larger than temp, does this evaluate to true or false?
Oh wait, now okay, I see. It'll just be true and it'll call back.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
So I guess
yeah.
So whenever A has values larger than temp.
Mm-hmm. You're on the right track.
Yeah. So I guess whenever A includes a value that is less than or equal to 0, because then temp would probably be more than that.
Right, because it says temp is a variable greater than 0.
That's
right.
0. Mm-hmm.
So whenever A includes a value that is less than or equal to 0, right,
Mm-hmm.
would always be less than temp. So let's see if that's correct. Right, cool.
Yeah, okay, I see.
Right. So one way to think of it, I think you're on the right track, but actually it's when A has values smaller than temp, right? Not larger.
Okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah. So close. But do you understand why it's B?
Yeah, because if A is less than or equal to 0, then it will always temp will always that'll run the condition will always run.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay, cool. All right, moving right along.
Okay.
So given the following values of A in the method double last, what will the values of A be after you execute the method double last.
Okay, so we have 6 elements in A,
Mhm.
and our index starts at that divided by 2. So we'll start at index 3.
Right? And what value is
Starting
it?
at 4.
Yeah, exactly.
4. So 4 equals. So AI equals AI times 2. So that'll be 4 times 2 equals 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do we go back in the loop? Yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start again at 8 divided by. So I guess, wait, I'm kind of confused. Wait.
Sure. So you got the first one. So you started I at index 3, right? And
Mhm.
3 is less than the length, which you said was 6. So we
Okay.
enter our for loop, and a of I is set to a of I times 2. So a of I is 4, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So a of I now equals, so a of 3 now equals 8.
Yes.
So that's cool. So we have a equaling -10, -5, 1, 8, 8, 30.
Yeah.
Cool. So now we go back, we increment I by 1, and go back and check our condition here in the for loop.
Okay, so now instead of A of 3, we're going to A of 4.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to 8 now.
Right.
So if we go to 8, then we times that by 2, that'll be 16.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, so the first 3, like -10, -5, and 1 won't change.
Mm-hmm.
So A and B are out. And so we're concentrated on this now. And 4 turn to 8. And 8 will turn to 6. 8 will turn into 16 because we're times it by 2. The 30 times 2 because we're going to continue the loop. Because when you
Right.
that'll be 60. So let's see.
C. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I was kind of lost.
Yeah. That's good. If you don't mind me asking, what was confusing about that?
Just where the index started, I was confused. I was like, should I go back?
Gotcha.
Like,
Okay. That totally makes sense. Yeah.
yeah.
Right, because once I is initialized, you never really visit that again. You just keep incrementing based on what's right here at the very end.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, nice. Okay, cool. I think that might be it for the easy questions. So we can move on to the medium.
Okay.
All right, it's bigger.
So
All right. Which of the following statements is a valid conclusion? Assume that variable b is an array of k integers and that the following is true.
So b of 0, so the first element does not equal b of k, which is the index for all k. Okay, so what does the arrow imply? Is that...
I think this is saying less than or equal to.
Oh, okay, I was confused.
Yeah, it does look like an arrow, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. So the value. So it checks initially. It says that the first element cannot equal it's not equal like the b of k, which could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's checking that for all k, such as 1 is less or equal to k.
Mm-hmm.
So if 1 is less than or equal to k, then that must mean that the value of the first one is the smallest value.
Okay. Let's see. that the value in B0 is the smallest value. And so why are you saying that again?
I'm saying that because it says that for all k, such as that one is less than or equal to k,
Mm-hmm.
so k will be, actually that means that just k will be bigger than 1.
Right. K here is it the value or the index?
Index.
Index, right.
Mm-hmm.
So our for all k, we're actually limiting the index, not the actual value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not my final answer. Okay, so
Okay.
so if the first, so array B is sorted, array B is not sorted. So k can be any of the 1, so it's not the first elements. Just making sure it's not equals the first elements.
Mm-hmm.
So the value in B does not occur anywhere else in the array.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that would be right.
Right.
Because if we just check that, then it won't be anywhere else we increment the index.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so we're going to try for A.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if that's right. Correct.
Yay.
Nice job.
Okay.
So the assertion denotes that B0 occurs only once, regardless of the order or value of the other array values. Cool.
Okay, yes, okay.
Yeah.
I have to understand it's the end. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right, because K is the index, not the value. So we can't really say anything about the value at B0, except that we know it doesn't happen anywhere else in the array.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Cool.
I understand. All right.
All right. So consider the following code segment. Which of the following statements best describes the conditions needed for temp to be true? So temp is a Boolean here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a false, and we have a for loop. We're going through the array, so temp. So we have a condition if, we're trying to find val.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess whenever A contains any element which equals val,
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the B.
B. Okay.
Yeah, because we have to find it. Yeah, that's
Right.
the condition.
All right. Incorrect. So it says, because temp is reset every time through the loop, only the last element controls whether the final value is true or false. Ooh, that's tricky.
Mm-hmm.
So what's actually happening here is we're going through the for loop a dot length minus 1 times,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So we're transposing the array,
Mm-hmm.
and then temp will equal true whenever A index I equals val.
Right?
And val is just something that it's set. And actually, I think this just means if like 1 is ever like, I guess like ever true when like it first finds the first one. So I guess, yeah.
Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, what were you about to say?
I was going to say, so what this like red piece at the bottom is saying that the value of temp that's returned is going to be the last value that temp is set to.
Okay, only the last one.
Because when you run through the for loop, it's going to be the last index that you're looking at.
Okay. Oh, so we have to go through the whole array, and then whenever the last occurrence of val is,
right,
that we find. Oh, okay.
Right. And the reason that it's like that is, I think maybe the question could also be worded a little bit better, but you're correct in saying that temp will be true whenever A contains any element which equals val. But I think the question's actually asking when will it return true? true, you know,
Oh, okay.
down.
But I just thought it would return true once it equaled val.
Mm.
Contain.
Okay, so if we put the return statement in the for loop, then
Yes.
then B is correct. But because we put it after the for loop is going to run through the entire array and check every single value. And the last value of temp is what will be returned.
Oh, okay, I understand. So the curly braces you have to watch out for.
Yes, exactly.
So I guess whenever the last element A is equal to val.
Mm-hmm. I think
Okay.
so. Let's see. Correct. Okay, so each time the for loop, or each time through the, because each time through the loop temp is reset, it will only be returned as true if the last value in A is equal to val.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Cool. Moving on.
All right.
This is a big one.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll do.
All right, so you can step through this code with the visualizer. So we'll do that maybe in a second because it's a lot of code.
Oh, yeah.
So consider the following data field and method find longest. So the data field is a private int array called nums, and there's a method called find longest which takes an int. So method find longest is intended to find the longest consecutive block of the valued target occurring in the array nums. However, find longest does not work as intended. So for example, if the array nums contains the value 7, 10, 10, 15, 15, 15, 15, 10, 10, 10, 15, 10, 10, the call find longest on 10 should return 3, the length of the longest consecutive block of tens. Do you see that?
Oh, I understand, yes.
Okay, cool. So which of the following best describes the value returned by a call to find longest?
Oh, okay, so we basically have to summarize what's happening.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so public int target, so parameter in len count, max len.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess len count is just the length.
Okay.
Like how long the block is.
Okay. Right.
And then max length. Oh, let's look through it. Let me see. Okay, we're going through nums. If nums k equals target. So we're finding if. So we're searching the array.
Mm-hmm.
And then length count will increment by 1.
Right.
Oh, and else if we have else. If length count is greater than max length, then max length equals len count.
Mm-hmm.
If okay, can I like trace this through like
Yeah.
the that's given? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, so yeah.
Let's try. Cool. This is not the correct one, is it? No.
Oh no.
Okay, let's try again. I think one more in there. All right, so we have our int nums, and then we have our method here. All right, let's do it. So in our main method, I'm going to call, let's make this public static just so that we don't need to create an object to call it. So your class name here, dot find longest on, I'll make this public. Your class name here, dot nums.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I believe that's incorrect because we,
like nums static.
yes, that's correct. That's the error we just got. But also I realized that what is the argument we're supposed to pass in for find longest?
The target.
Right. So in our example, if we go back,
Oh yeah.
right, we have to give an example.
Oh, like you said find longest 10 and that will return 3.
Right. So let's set nums to be
that
long thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like this. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And let's pass our target of 10.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's see what happens. Non-static variable nums cannot be referenced from a static context.
Let's put public static.
Yes. Thank you. All right, we'll close this.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay.
So we're going to start stepping through. So we started our main, and actually, if I can make this bigger, we can see the entire array.
Oh, that's better. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So we start at line 23, and we call the find longest method.
Mm-hmm. That puts the array.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then now they have all of the indexes. Now we're going to do, len count,
Mm-hmm.
max length.
Right. So K is
into the for loop.
Right. So is this going to return true or false at line 9?
From K equals target. It's going to return false.
Okay. So we hop down here. What about this else if at line 11?
Well, they're equal, aren't they? So
Mm-hmm.
it will just skip it.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the if, the for loop, I mean. Yeah.
Exactly. So now K is
1. And now I think we would go into the if statements, because now 10 on index 1 now equals 10.
Mm-hmm.
The target.
Cool.
Then length count would increment because we found it.
Right. So why do we go back up to the for loop?
Well, since that if statement was met, we don't have to go to else if, so we're going back to increment again to find the next consecutive one.
Yeah, exactly.
Target.
Yeah, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So we're going into it, and we incremented K.
Mm-hmm.
And it found 10 again, so it's going to increment length count.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then we're going to go back to the for loop, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to go to K equals 3.
Mm-hmm.
But it will break the if.
Right.
Because it doesn't equal, let's see, 15. And we're going to go to else if.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to return true, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So now, that's interesting. Like it now max length equals length counts. And they changed it now.
Right. So what is that? So line like 11 and 12. Basically, what is happening there?
So whenever length count is greater than just like max length, it will set max length to len counts.
Right.
Oh, I guess like we're just like, then we're gonna go back to the for loop and we're gonna check again if there's another consecutive one. And I guess once like we're gonna compare it through the whole array, we're gonna compare which is like the longest consecutive one.
Uh-huh.
There's 2 blocks of 10s.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna go there and try to compare it to the max length. That's why we stored that into the variable.
Right. Right. Exactly. Cool. Let's keep stepping through. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna do the same thing, so we can just like.
So we keep stepping through. Right now we're our len count. Oh, is it our len count incrementing at all?
I don't think it did increment.
Yeah, it shouldn't, right? Because we're not finding our target, right? So let's go. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say length count equals max length.
Yes.
Max length, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's no need to update our max length, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So we're at index 7 now. And we want our function find longest to return 3, right, for the argument 10, because 7, 8, 9 is like the longest consecutive block of 10s. So let's see what actually happens, because the method, or like the multiple choice question, said that something wasn't working. So let's see.
All right, so we step in to the for the if statement, and it should return true, and length count should increment. Okay, and then we're gonna go back to the for loop, and then we're gonna do it again until 10 is no more. Yeah, length count increments to 4 now.
Is that an accurate count of the length?
It really isn't, because it counts the other 10s we had before.
Right.
But I guess like there's like another if statement over there, so it will tell us like, I guess it's incrementing again to tell us. At the if statement, we'll probably be like, if length count is greater than max length, then we're gonna set max length count to max length. Max length will get that number back.
Right.
Back. It won't return what? But it won't return an accurate number because it's still counting the other 10s we had before, not the longest block.
Yeah, exactly. How would we fix that?
Probably like after the. So if length count is greater than max length, then maybe you would just like maybe set max length back to 0 if that's the case. Or just like try to
if we set max length back to 0, then we kind of lose the max length of consecutive blocks, right?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, right. But we want an accurate len count. So we do need to reset a variable here.
Probably length count then.
Okay.
So after like we saw that length count had, we reset, we like in line 12 we set max length equals len counts after the else statement. So max length has the length count we already got. So we should reset length count back to 0. So then if there's another occurrence of a block of 10s or another targets, then we compare that. Then okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and like without running through the rest of the method, what will this version of find longest return?
Oh, it'll probably return 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, 7. Yeah.
7. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I didn't have it return anything. Oh no. But yeah, max len would be 7. Exactly. Cool. So if we edit this code and I change, just like how you said, we reset len count to be 0. Once we set max length, let's see if that fixes our problem.
Okay.
Unknown error.
Oh no.
Okay. Let's see. Fresh. Two main methods. Just going to delete that. Try again. Error. Oh, am I missing a each?
Yeah.
Oh, I have two class declarations. That would do it.
All right.
Great. Unknown error. This is so sad.
Oh no.
This is so sad. I'll try once more. I want this to work. Because I do think that would fix the problem. Let me try with this. Visualize.
I feel the struggle though.
Thank you. Yeah, it is always a little bit of a struggle. Okay, cool. So it's not going to work today. But just so you know, I think that would fix your problem. Because you would reset len count to 0. So the next time, for example, the next time we get to a 10, we're starting counting out or we're starting our count at 0 rather than 2 or 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So as the index goes on,
Yeah.
we're going to like check. Like
yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So I wish that worked, but that's all right. So back to this question.
Oh yeah, what was the question?
Yeah, what was the question? So it's asking, which of the following best describes what's actually being returned by find longest?
Oh, it's the number of occurrences of the value target nums. So D.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Nice. Yeah. So the variable len count is incremented each time the current array element is the same value as the target. It's never reset, so it counts the number of occurrences of target and nums. Yeah, and the method returns max len, which is actually just, like you said, the number of times that value is in nums. Nice.
All right. Yay.
Yay, yeah. You're doing really well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I think this is the last one on medium. All right, consider the following data field and method. Which of the following best describes the contents of my stuff after the following statement has been executed? And in the code, they say precondition, my stuff contains integers in no particular order.
All right, so it's not sorted. All right.
Yeah, no order.
Okay, so we have a for loop and k equals my stuff. Minus 1. So our index starts at the end of the array.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And as k is greater or equal to 0, then you subtract 1 for decrements. If my stuff k is less than num, return k. If not found, well, not, then f I return -1.
Mm-hmm.
So some particular order below, we're starting at the end, and then k will always be greater or equal to 0. So yeah, that means that we're starting at the end, and then after we decrement to go all the way to the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're finding the index in my stuff index k that's less than num.
Mm-hmm.
Then we should return the index k of where that's found. Okay, so all values position. So num is just a parameter or given. So if we want to see int m equals mystery and n, and that's the number we're supposed to find.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of confused about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I am a little bit too. It's asking which of the following best describes the contents of my stuff after the following statement. But is my stuff changed? Or like,
No, but
it's not. So I think the question, I'm also just making notes of these things to improve them, but
Mhm.
I think it might be asking you like, when does it return K? If that makes
Okay.
sense.
Oh yes, like after the following statement is executed, so it'll return a KK. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Um,
The last statement int m equals mystery n.
mhm.
Is that just like a call to the method like int m equals
Yes.
we're just calling mystery n?
Yeah, exactly. You're just calling mystery on a number n. Yeah. And we're
Okay.
assigning that return value, either k or -1, to the value, or to, the variable m.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So at the end of this, m will equal either k, which is an index of my stuff, or it'll equal -1, meaning that my stuff at k was never less than num. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
So the small value is at position m. So I'm trying to like go through like so if my stuff index k is less than num.
right.
So we're checking if so let's say like the index was like 2,
Mm-hmm.
num was given was like 6, like we're looking for that.
Right.
And then we're looking at index 2, and then after we're running if it's
Mm-hmm.
we're going through each one.
Mm-hmm.
Then we if that's the case, then we return k as 2.
Right.
And 2.
So I think we might be able to skip this one just because the question is a little vague. Um, but I guess I would ask you, like, if I were asking a question, I'd say, when does this, or what does k equal at the end? Like, what does k represent after
Probably
execution?
the small like a small value of the num. Or like the index
Uh-huh.
of like the value that's less than num.
Right. And say I had an array that was in order, right? And so I had the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Mm-hmm.
and num was 3.
Mm-hmm.
What would k be? Or like, what does k represent? Because technically 1, 2, 1 and 2 are less than 3, right?
Oh, so it's probably looking for the value or like where the index where like num is like where like everything is starts where like everything's less than that num.
Right. Um,
So
it,
kind
it,
of
if
looking
it was an order, true, but
yeah.
they're saying that it's no particular order.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if I had like uh, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Mm-hmm.
what would k return? And my num was still 3.
Well, it will go from it will start from the back,
Mm-hmm.
and then so it'll start at 1. We're looking at 3, so it would probably stop at like it will just stop at like 2 afterwards because index. So probably like be at the back, so be index 4 or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that that'll be less than num.
Exactly. Right, so it's actually finding the first, or starting at the back, it's finding the first value that's smaller than num and returning that index.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna type it out real quick. I think might help, just to see it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so if this is the, this is the method. Something like this. And we're returning -1 if we don't find it, right?
Mhm.
If I have, or actually, why not just make the array? So how would I create an array? Just quick practice, yeah.
Oh, just create an array. If you, so you do, well, before it was, they made like a private one, but if we want to store some integers in it, then it'll just be like public static int 2 brackets equals then
And
like
then,
curly brackets. Yeah.
yeah. So if I had 5, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think we're missing something.
Or I'm missing the name.
Yeah.
So that would go after int n, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like nums.
Nums. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're
Always
calling, or actually, should we call it, do you want to call it my stuff?
Oh yeah, we should do that.
Just to keep it, yeah, to keep it all the same. So if we do your class name here, and we call this method mystery on the int 3, right?
Yeah.
So we should get int n equals. So after executing this, m should equal what value?
3. I mean, it should equal. Oh, we're doing decreasing, so it should equal 4.
Right. So it would return the index 4 because 1 is less than 3, and that would that be true? And then you'd return 4. So cool.
Yeah. Occurrence of it being less than nums.
Yeah. And if, let's say that this was our array, we had 3, 2, 3, and I think they said no duplicates. So what value would it return now?
So if we're looking for mystery 3,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is kind of confusing since we start at the back and it equals.
Right.
It'd probably go. It's not a particular order, so we'll probably just say like that's it will be 0, 1, 2, 3. So the third index, because 2 is less than 3.
Right. Exactly. So we'd return the third index, and would equal 3, like you said.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's actually just try that real quick. Non-static. Oh, I didn't make this static because I called it with the class name.
Mm-hmm.
All right, close, and let's just skip forward. So we have our 3. We're starting from the back at index 4.
Mm-hmm.
3 isn't less than 3.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah, but then we decrement k, so
yeah, exactly. So m is 3. Nice. So that's cool. So again, not really sure what this question was asking you, but yeah, but we understand the code. It's finding finding.
Sorted, then I would say that's where like if you want to put like a value in, like that was like less than, like if it was in sorted order, then you wanted to put like 3 into 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4, 5 or something, and after that you wanted to see, then you would look for like the less number.
Yes. Yes, that makes sense.
But yeah, it's not a particular order, so I was confused.
So, right. It's essentially finding the first thing starting from the right that's smaller than num. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm
just, I guess.
I'm curious as to what
Oh.
this says. Mystery steps backward through the array until the first value less than the past num n is found, and then it returns the index where this value is found. Okay, that's what we just said.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is known about the elements of the array prior to the index.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the question's a little vague, but cool. We can understand that. Right. Okay, we have hard multiple choice. Let me just see how many there are. Oh, there's just one. Okay. And it's really long. So consider the following data field an incomplete method, partial sum, which is intended to return an array, integer array sum, such that for I and sum of I is equal to array of 0 plus array 1 all the way to array I. For instance, if array contains the values 1, 4, 1, 3, the array sum will contain the values 1, 5, 6, 9.
All right.
Okay, do you see that? So 1, the first index is equal to the first index.
The prior, yeah.
Yeah. So which of the following is true about the two implementations of missing code on line 9 that are proposed? Which of the following is true about the two implementations? So they have two down here.
Oh, I see it.
1, 2. Yeah. So what's true about those two proposed solutions of missing code, which goes here, apparently?
All right. So we have an array, integer array, and a partial sum.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have we're creating a new array, so it just equals the same length as the array.
Right.
So it's a copy. And then we have a for loop where j starts at the beginning and transverses.
Mm-hmm.
And then sum, the index j of sum equals 0.
Mm-hmm.
So wait. Oh, so like the new array sum, that index, the index will equal 0 if you transverse it.
Right. And this for loop is missing brackets, but it only has one line in its body.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually is okay. So it'll go through this whole thing, and essentially, what do you think this is doing? I guess I should ask.
Well, it goes through. It's interesting because it goes through like sum, and like sum has like the same length as the array that we're looking at, and then it will set the index sum to all 0.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so all the index is equal 0.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a array of size length, array.length, and everything is 0. They're all initialized to 0.
All right, okay.
Cool. Then we have our missing code, and then we return the sum. So now
so that missing code would probably like add it, yeah.
Right, exactly.
So missing, we want to see which one. So this one. So we have the same for loop that transverses, but sum j equals sum j minus 1. So that's then plus array j.
Mm-hmm.
So that's checking. So sum j minus 1. So that's the index to the left.
Right.
Plus array j.
Mm-hmm.
So like if we look at like 1, 4, 1, 3, what if it just focuses on 1? So it adds 1. Wait. I get what it's trying to do. Like it's trying to like add the two like values to like get like the sum and put it as sum j as the index.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I guess like if we're focusing on like the first like
Yes.
index,
Uh-huh.
then after that we will do sum j. But I don't. But wouldn't that be out of bounds because
Yeah.
-1? That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it totally would be out of bounds because j is 0, and then you'd be trying to access sum of 0 minus 1 or sum of index -1, which doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I'm
implement.
confused. So let's look at inflation too.
Yeah.
But for implementation 2,
Yeah.
we have a nested for loop.
Uh-huh. Right.
So like we have one that has index j and it goes through the actual array that we're getting it from,
Mm-hmm.
not sum. And then we have another one inside, which is that makes sense because it checks if k is less than or equal to j, so it doesn't go over bounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then it increments k, and I guess that goes through. That's the sum. Yeah, that's for sum or like array. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if we were going to the first one like we did last time,
Mm-hmm.
that equals sum j, so that's the sum. So like the first value would be sum index 0
Right.
plus array k, and then k starts at 0.
Right.
And then I thought that would get the first one. So in this case, we 1, and 1 will be set to sum index
Uh-huh.
0. So if we did like 2,
Right.
like we did like index
Mm-hmm.
1, then we did 4, then next 1, sum j, then after that will be index 1 plus now be 4, and then after that equal 5.
So I think
Right.
because the second time it's a nested for loop, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we would have j is 0, k is 0. In that case works, like you just said, because sum j would equal 0 plus array at 0, which is 1. So it would equal 1, which is right. But the second time around, j stays 0 and k is 1.
Yeah.
So what would
The j
happen?
only increment when we're going through the array, though. We'll go to the next value. Oh, wait, no. It will still say that because we're incrementing k. That will go through, like, it will be like array index 1 now.
Yeah, exactly. So j would stay the same because it's nested for loop. So nested means that the inner for loop has to finish, and then it'll come out and then increment j.
Okay. Oh, that's different now because if it stays the same, then it won't go through the sum, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because we need sum to, like, increase with k, though.
Right. So you would actually be resetting sum of 0 to be a different value.
Oh, okay.
So let's actually, do you want to run through, like, see this in the visualizer?
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it.
So if you have a nested for loop, so the inner has to like run through the whole array before the condition is met to go back to the outer.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then it will go back to the inner if needed, or we'll stop.
So the idea is that imagine that, like line 6 and 7, imagine that this code was by itself.
Mm-hmm.
So this would go through from 0 to k less than equal to j, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to run its own thing. Now imagine this for loop.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to iterate through, actually, it does need parentheses because it has more than one line. But this is going to do everything in the body of its for loop for j to array.length. And this inner loop is going to execute 0, like j equals 0 to j less than array.length times.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Right? And
Mhm.
every time it's going to do 0 to k less than equal to j.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
let's see. If I have,
but j is always 0. So that conditional, so 1 will always, well, would it stop because 1 is not less than 0?
would it stop because 1 is not less than 0? Oh, that's a really good point. Would it?
Because j will, because k is incrementing because we want to go to another place in the array to like add them,
Mm-hmm.
put it into the new array sum,
Mhm.
and then once k is incremented to 1, then 1 does not one does not one is not less than or equal to 0.
Right.
Also, I'll break it, then we'll go back.
So yeah, exactly. It would break it and then go back.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this does work after all. Maybe we were too hasty. Let's try it and see what happens.
But I'd rather visualize it. I get really confused in nested for loops.
Yeah, I think visualizing is the way to go. Legal start of expression. Maybe because I'm in the main method.
Oh, yeah, you're in the main, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Cool.
Okay.
Because I'm not in the class, I'm actually in main, so I don't need the public qualifier. Okay, so let's step forward. So we have array, and we have our sum array.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
sum, and it's all 0.
So j is 0,
Mm-hmm.
and k is 0.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like you said, right, we had 0
yeah.
plus 1.
Mm-hmm. And that's the first value of sum.
Right.
And then now k will now, we're going back to the inner out for loop.
Mm-hmm.
Incremented already,
Mm-hmm.
but it'll break out and go to the outer.
Exactly.
All right, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So now j will increment.
Now it'll work out. Okay.
Mm-hmm. K is going to be what value?
Now k will be 2. I mean 1.
Mm,
What will be 2?
it'll actually be 0. Because we're starting this inner for loop again, as if we hadn't seen it before.
Oh, really?
Because remember when we ran it the last time? We broke out of the for loop, so we were completely done with it, and we came to this set of parentheses at line 10,
Mm-hmm.
and then we went back because we also came to the end of the other for loop, right?
Oh, okay.
We started again. And we start afresh as if j is 1, and the for loop is just thinking, I just have to do everything in the body, right?
Yeah.
And so it starts again with k is 0.
Okay. Oh, I see now. And then once k is 0, 0 is less than or equal to 1.
Right.
So it will go to the condition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it will go to like the body,
Mm-hmm.
and then it will check some j and f at some. So it goes to like the first 0, 1. So index 1
Mm-hmm.
of the sum array, and then after that, it will add that by array k.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So what will sum j equal after this? After I click forward.
Sum j.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it will equal 5 because it goes to the first, second place. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, is that what it did though?
That's weird.
Yeah, but let's keep going. I have a feeling it'll work. So what we've done so far is we've added sum of j, which was 0,
Mm-hmm.
and array of k, which is also 0. So we've
Yes.
just added the first element of array into this sum of 1.
Okay.
So if we step forward, we come back here, we increment k, so now k is 1. And does that satisfy this k less than equal to j?
It does, because 1 equals 1.
Exactly. So we're going to step back in.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're adding whatever is in sum of 1. And we're adding it to array of k, and k is 1.
Mm-hmm. K is 1,
So
so
now,
we'll add 4. Yeah.
So now what will sum of j equal?
Now sum of j will equal 5, because we're adding 4 plus 1.
Exactly. Perfect.
Oh, I see what happened. Every time k restarts, because we went back to the inner for loop. Now it has to go through zeros again, and after that, it will still go through 1, because 1 equals 1, and then after that will go back and it will add.
Yeah.
Value. And yeah.
Exactly. Cool. So this time is k going to enter the for loop, or are we going to pop out of the inner for loop?
We're gonna pop out because it will be equal 2, and 2 is not less than 1.
Yeah. And we pop out and come back up here. Now what value is j going to take on?
Now j is going to be 2.
Exactly. So j is going to be 2. We go in, and now k is
0.
And so we add the 0th index. K is 1 first. K is 2 the second.
Now it equals, and it goes in the for loop. Now it adds the second index of array.
Exactly.
And it'll add it, and that'll be 6. Yeah.
Awesome. And then what happens here?
Oh, now that k is 3, we pop out, I think.
Exactly.
And then j will increment.
K increments from 0.
We have to go
1.
into 3. And then once the condition is met, we change our value, and that'll be 9.
Yeah.
We
pop out.
And then we won't go back in because we don't have any more, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So we're done with our outer loop for the last time.
Yeah.
And so we pop out of both for loops, or the outer for loop, I should say. And we're done. Yeah, cool. Nice work.
Oh.
And that was
understanding of nested for loops.
Yay, that's awesome. So I'm gonna ask you a question now. Say that you know that your outer for loop runs for 5 times, right? And your inner for loop runs 2 times. How many times in total does this inner line number, like line number 9, get executed?
Well, so if we go in, so it runs 5 times and 2 times. We only go into the body once the second one is fulfilled. So I guess we'll only run 2 times.
So say it's fulfilled every time. Say that this is something like k less than 10, and I only have numbers less than 10.
Okay.
So you are for sure going to run the inner for loop twice.
Oh, if it's gonna run twice, it will run like, it will like keep on going until like that. It will keep up like we were doing now. It will keep on popping back and back to the body and then going back. So it'll run like 10 times.
Yeah, exactly. So it would run 10 times because we do so if this outer for loop runs 5 times, then for every time it runs, it's going to run 2 times for the inner for loop. So
yeah, I see that, yeah.
Yeah, so this line will actually end up running 5 times 2 times, which is 10.
All right, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, awesome. All right, cool. So back to this question. I think we answered it, or you mentioned the answer.
Oh yeah, number 1 won't work, but number 2 will.
Right. So I think D will be our answer. Correct.
Yay.
So nice job. So when j is 0, sum of j minus 1 will be sum of -1, which will cause an array index out of bound exception. Okay, cool.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait. So if we wanted to fix the out of bounds error for this one, would we just do like we did here and did a nested for loop, or would there be another way we can like fix that?
That's a good question. So let's copy this in. So what's a way to fix this? I'm going to add in some parentheses. You don't have to, but so yeah,
J
go ahead.
increments. We can still do like sum of j, and it can still increment every time in the array.
You could do sum of j. Sorry, what do you mean by that?
Oh, wait, but I kind of think we need 2 indices. I don't know.
Yeah, because we're going through 2 arrays, right? So 2 indices might be useful, but think about, so implementation 1 was trying to do the thing where it looked at the left value and added it to that current value of array.
And I would definitely try to do that if I was.
Yeah, exactly. So one way to do it is to simply put a check right here. So just to make sure that we're not looking at our first case, because this would work for every case. So we had, like, this is a special case, right, where it doesn't work for the first element or the 0th element, but it does work for the other ones, right?
Yeah. And also the first element will equal like, so like in the case in the bottom, like line 13, like array 0 will array like 0 will equal sum of 0.
Exactly. Yeah. So we could hard code that kind of into our code.
Yeah.
So we could do a check, and we would check. What would you like to check?
Honestly, can we like start our index like at 1?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I was just thinking about that. I was like, maybe we can just skip it. Then I thought we can hard code to like we say array 0 equals sum 0, and then we start from the first index 1. Then we go on.
We would say sum of 0 equals array of 0. Like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that was that's 1. And then now that like we have that value already, we can like go on here, because like if so like j is 1 now if we start the loop. So sum index 1 will equal sum j minus 1, now be sum 0 plus j. That's 1. So we'll go here and it'll add 1 plus 0. What is it? 1 plus. That's 1. So yeah, now will equal 4. I mean 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
1 plus 4. 5. Yeah.
Let's try it. So if I throw this up here, and I'm just going to comment out implementation 2. All right, let's see if this works. All right. Just need to see that. All right, forward. So we have array, we have sum.
All right.
Hard coded at line 8. So what should happen?
So now sum now equals 1. Sum 0 equals 1.
Right.
Yeah. And then now we enter the for loop. And it'll start at index 1. And then it will it will go to like the body,
Mhm.
and then after that, it will look at the index on the left,
Mhm.
and then it will add the index that we're looking for. So the first one of the former array that equal 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll increment j.
Yeah, j will be incremented
Mhm.
now.
And
2. And then we enter the body,
Mhm.
and we do the same thing. We look at the one at index
Great.
1, and we add it to the index 2.
Great. Exactly. Cool. And let's
Alright.
keep going. So now j is 3.
Oh yeah, and then we look at the left, and we add 6, no 9.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. We fixed it.
Yay. Okay.
Yeah. So that's how you.
Bad to hard code something.
Yeah, I guess generally like good practice is to not hard code things. In this case, I think it's okay because it solves the problem, and this will always be true. It's not specific to our case. If you didn't want to hard code though, you could start j to here. You could start j to be 0, and then simply say inside. Maybe I'll
put it. Statement. Yeah.
Right. So inside,
if so, what should we say is if? I don't know, because we want to check if j. Want to check if like the first index won't be out of bounds.
Mm-hmm. So if we start this again at 0, right?
Yeah.
If j is 0, what do we want to do?
Oh, if j is 0, then we want to. Oh, we want to do the same thing. Sum 0 equals array 0.
Yeah, exactly. So I could move this inside here. And that would basically be doing the same thing that you did, except we're just keeping it all in the for loop.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see the if statement. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that works out.
Yeah. And then would you need an else statement here?
Yeah, I think you would.
Okay. And why do you say that?
I don't know. Unless like you're returning something, I just feel like you wouldn't want to like have another like thing to do afterwards.
Yeah, that's fair. Another reason is that your if statement would execute, but then if you didn't have an else, this would always execute, which would be besides the point because we'd still get an array index out of bounds exception.
Yeah, so defeat the purpose.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
what were you gonna say?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see. We'll go through this real quick. Int cannot be converted to Boolean. Oh.
It was a double equals, yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I understand that.
Unknown error. Okay. All right. Today is just not our day. But this would work, I'm pretty sure. And you would get the same result. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on anything on here?
Can you go back to the hard multiple choice?
Yeah.
Question. I just want to see something.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I'm okay.
Okay.
This is good practice for nested for loops, so I was glad.
Nice. What was your question going to be about?
And I was kind of confused. It's like whenever I see like something that's like k is like less than or equal to j.
Yeah.
I'm always just really intimidated. I just have to like trace it very carefully. So I wanted to see how the outer for loop will work. We answered that already.
Okay.
So we're good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think also writing it on paper is really helpful. So kind of, actually maybe if you give me half a second, I can pull up. Let's see if I can share this with you. If I share, hello. But if I shared this, okay, so this is just paintbrush, right? But if you do something like this, where you make a chart, and you say that, like, okay, well, excuse my crude drawing, but if I say that this is J and this is K, right? And then if you have any other variables, you can trace those here, and you can have your array to the side. You can kind of trace it. So you might have something like 0, 0, and then it went back to 1, 0, 1, 1, right? And then our thing was K is less than or equal to J. Yeah, right?
Oh, that works.
Yeah, so you can kind of see the pattern.
Can we see the breaks?
Exactly, you can see the breaks. So yeah, so like on the test or whatever, on the exam, this is like a super, super helpful thing to do. And for these, sometimes you'll have calculations. You could even have like sum of J as this column, and then keep track of that as you go. But yeah, you can see the breaks. Like there's a break here, there's a break here, there's a break here.
Yeah, and then I have to go back. That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that was fun. I haven't used Paintbrush in a while, but I hope that helps.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to use that. It's better to be organized.
Yeah, cool. All right, let me end this. Do you have any other questions on anything that we covered today?
Actually, I'm pretty solid, honestly.
Okay, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, good luck. Did you say you had a test or something?
I don't have a test. I'm just like preparing for the AP exam.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I hope this helped. And yeah, I think we'll have a webinar tomorrow too, so you can hop on then. But other than that, have a great night.
I know. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay,
See ya.
bye.
Bye.